Today, we are going to be talking about grant network access for Signage Live. If you are not new to Signage Live, then you know that we take security incredibly seriously here at Signage Live. And in light of that, we introduced a security measure called grant network access. The way that works is that it gives customers or users on your Signage Live network, whether it be you as an admin, whether it be you as just a regular user, it gives you the ability to control the access that the Signage Live team, being me or being one of our support team, or whether you're having a training session with one of our technical engineers, and it just gives you that extra bit of control. How long we access it for, who accesses it, and how we access it. Today, we are using the Signage Live Studio network. This is the network for the room that we are in right now. I'm currently logged in as a admin, and that's important because depending on what type of user you are will determine what experience you get when it comes to grant network access. Let's pretend you have a ticket open with our Signage Live support team. You have an issue. Now, this is how you're going to go through the process of enabling access for that Signage Live team. We're going to go to settings over here, and we're going to go down to the grant network access menu here. When you click on this, you're greeted with this menu that you see here. Immediately, you see we've got these three big blue buttons here, and those are the main controls regarding how we control access in grant network access. As a user who is not an admin, I would not get visibility of these two buttons here. These two buttons enable access for a Signage Live team and provide permission for Signage Live to enable access. Both of those buttons would not be present within my UI if I were a regular user. You need to have admin access, or if you have granular user permissions, you would see these two buttons here. But if you aren't an admin and you don't have GUP enabled and you don't have the permissions, you would only see new access request. The one that you're probably going to use the most, you would click this blue new access request button here. Upon doing so, what that's going to do is immediately raise this dialog box, and you're presented with a few options. So the first one is reason for access. So you're going to put in a reason for your access. You're going to select what team you want to have access to your Signage Live network. At present, that is only our support team. Access duration. Now, this is where you would select your duration. You, of course, select whatever time frame that you want to have, and then you just select that from the drop down. In my case right now, I'm going to leave this as 1 day. Hi there, this is Future Joe. This is one more thing I forgot to mention on this video. If you are working with our technical pre-sales team and you are about to have a training session, just be wary of when your training session is, because if you set your access duration as 1 day and our technical pre-sales team aren't going to access your network for a few days, just be wary that come the time of your training session, if that access has been enabled and then it expires, it would have to be re-requested. So I just thought I'd mention that there. But anyway, I'll let you get back to the video now. And in terms of the access level, at present, we only have full access. If I hit save now, what that's going to do is that's going to raise the access request. And you'll see that pop up in a moment. What's worth noting here is that this has not granted access to the Signage Live team yet. It's now down to one of the admins on your network to either grant or reject this request. Once that's approved, our Signage Live team can then log in and access your network for the time that is stated here. So in this case, you see that we've got all of the information about this request. So we've got the date it was requested, we've got who it was requested by. In my case, I've made a test account today to do this with. It's an access request. We've requested full access for 1 day, the reason for access, the team, the status, and last updated by. Now, that process we just went through, that would be the process you would go through if you were a regular user. You would raise the access request, and then an admin or a user with the relevant permissions would either approve or reject that request. I am an admin, so straight away, if I want to, I can go ahead and click these three little dots here, and I can approve or I can reject this request. So for now, what I'm going to do is reject this. I'm going to say no longer required. So that's going to be my reason for rejecting this. Now, in my case, I'm an admin, so I can approve these requests as and when I want. Instead of doing a set amount of time for the Signage Live team to access that network, I might just say, do you know what? I want to give them indefinite access. I speak to the Signage Live support team quite a lot. I want them to be able to access my network as and when they want to. That is when you would come in to enable access for a Signage Live team. Now again, only admins or users with the relevant permissions would get this option. But if I click on this button now, the dialog box is a little bit different this time around. So we're going to give our reason for access. We're going to select our Signage Live team again, support, and we're going to do our access level as full access. I'm going to hit save now. Immediately the status has gone to approved over here. So what we've done now is we've immediately enabled access for the Signage Live team. The difference between this and the first option is that we have not defined an amount of time that the Signage Live team can access our network now. We've just enabled access. Now the Signage Live support team have indefinite access to this network until I decide to revoke it. At any time, if you want to revoke access to a network, you can just go over to here like so, and then you do revoke like that. And again, you'd have to be an admin to do that. That brings me on to this third option here, which is provide permission for Signage Live to enable access. Now in this case, this is a little bit different to the one before. So when we click this one, we get some options here. These options are pretty much the same. Now you would use this one if you wanted to give us access to your network for 24 hours at a time. In terms of the difference between that and enable access indefinitely, if you enable access indefinitely, well then the door's open, right? Support team can come into your network. When we come into your network there, we can come and go as we please. Whereas if you do the provide permission, what that's going to do is it's actually going to shut the door every now and then on us, and it will give us the ability to enable access should we need it. In 24 hours time, this access will be automatically revoked. But at that point, our support team, if they want to get back into your network here, they can just go back in and grant themselves access, do what they need to do. They'll have another 24-hour window there, and then this access will be automatically revoked. If you now go and revoke access like that, that means you're revoking the ability for our support team or our Signage Live team to go into your network and enable access for themselves. So that would mean that they would need to re-request access. Now that comes on to the next part of this. If our Signage Live team are helping you, they might raise an access request for you. What we have the ability to do as a support team, and we do this from a different system to what you're seeing here, but the concept is the same. What we would go in and do is we would raise an access request like this. So we've got the access request is on screen now, and if the support team has raised this would appear here as it would with any other access request, but it would say that it has come from the support team. At that point, you as an admin or a user with the relevant granular user permissions, you then get the ability to grant or decline that access as and when you please. Whatever duration they requested, they will then get access for that amount of time, and then when that access comes to an end, it will end. Now, the final thing to note about this is that if you have hierarchies enabled on your network, if you are enabling access at any level, say an access request is raised and that is approved, that access request will permit the Signage Live team access to all levels on your Signage Live network at this time. That's just how the grant network access works when it comes to hierarchies. That is our top level overview of grant network access. That is all of the key things you need to know here. But essentially, it's another security measure here. It's a secure way of us accessing your network as and when needed. At the end of the day, like I said, we take security incredibly seriously here at Signage Live. So just to know that we're doing things right here, it puts a stamp on our heads, and I'm sure that it gives anyone who is granting us access a peace of mind, I'm sure. I hope this helped. Like I say, if you have any questions, do let us know. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care.